Maya Njeri, 23% again? How many times must I tell you? Mathematics is the key to success. If you cannot pass it...
Dad, please, not here.
Hi, my name is Maya Njeri. If you had met me when I was 16 years old, you probably wouldn't have noticed anything special about me. I wasn't the smartest student in class. I wasn't the loudest. I wasn't the most popular either. I was simply the girl who always struggled with mathematics. Every Monday morning, I prayed that Mr. Njeri wouldn't ask me a question I couldn't answer. But somehow, he always did. Mr. Njeri wasn't just our mathematics teacher. He was also my best friend Brenda's father. Everyone admired him because he believed discipline created success. He wanted every student to become the best. But somewhere along the way, he began believing that a mathematics grade could predict a child's future. Whenever Brenda scored the highest marks, his face would light up with pride. Whenever my paper reached his hands, he would sigh before saying my name. Each sigh felt heavier than the last. I tried. I really did. While other students solved equations in minutes, I stared at the numbers for what felt like forever. Some days I understood the lesson. Other days, the numbers looked like a language my mind simply couldn't speak. The laughter from my classmates hurt, but not as much as disappointing myself. The only reason I kept walking back into that classroom every morning was because I wasn't alone. Brenda never laughed at me. She sat beside me, shared her notes, and reminded me that failing one subject didn't mean failing at life. Her mother treated me like another daughter whenever I visited their home. She always welcomed me with a warm smile and a hot meal. Sometimes I wondered how two people living under the same roof could see the world so differently. One believed grades were everything. The other believed every child deserved patience, kindness, and another chance. Then there were my parents, Daniel and Grace Njeri. They never asked me why I wasn't like Brenda. Instead, they asked if I had done my best today. Looking back now, I realized they were teaching me something far greater than mathematics. They were teaching me resilience. At the time, I didn't know that the girl everyone pitied would one day walk back into that village, not as a failure, but as someone whose life would surprise them all. But before that day came, I still had one more examination to face, one that would change everything. The final mathematics examination was only a few weeks away. And somehow, everything around us began to change. The classroom became quieter. The laughter slowly disappeared. Every student knew the examination would shape our future. Brenda remained calm, as she always did. She loved mathematics, and every new lesson made her even more confident. I admired her. Not because she was the best, but because she never made me feel less than I was. Every afternoon, after school, I studied as hard as I could. Some questions made sense. Others looked impossible. There were days I wanted to close my books and never open them again. But every time, I thought about giving up. I remembered my parents. At home, they never compared me to Brenda. They never asked why I wasn't number one. Instead, my father would smile and ask only one question. Maya, did you do your best today? My mother would gently remind me. Your value is greater than your grades. Those simple words gave me strength. Soon, the day we had been preparing for finally arrived. The mathematics examination. The entire school felt unusually quiet. Every heartbeat seemed louder than before. I took my seat, closed my eyes, and whispered a silent prayer. When the examination papers were placed on our desks, I promised myself, no matter what happened, I would give everything I had. Hours later, the final bell rang. The examination was over. Students slowly walked out of the examination hall. Some smiled with confidence. Others worried about the questions they couldn't answer. I walked beside Brenda without saying much. Deep inside, I didn't know whether I had done enough. All I could do now was wait. And hope. A week passed. And before we knew it, the day we had all been waiting for finally arrived. Results day. The classroom was unusually quiet. Even the students who loved to joke had nothing to say. Mr. Samuel Wanjiru walked into the classroom, carrying a pile of marked mathematics papers. My heart began to beat faster. One by one, he called each student's name. Some students smiled with relief. Others quietly accepted their papers, trying to hide their disappointment. Then, I heard the words, Maya and Njeri. I slowly stood up. Every step toward the front of the classroom felt heavier than the last. I took my paper, and my eyes immediately searched for my mark. 23%. For a moment, everything around me became silent. After the lesson, Mr. Wanjiru asked me to meet him in the staff room. My heart sank because I already knew what the conversation would be about. He looked at me, then at my paper. And in a loud voice, he said, Maya, I know you can do better than this, but you must take mathematics seriously. He was shouting. He was embarrassing me. But those words still hurt. I quietly left the staff room, holding my results tightly. The walk home felt longer than ever before. Mr. Wanjiru's words kept echoing in my mind. I was angry. I was disappointed in myself. When I reached home, my parents immediately noticed something was wrong. My mother gently held my hand. My father looked at me with concern. Neither of them asked about my marks first. They only asked, Maya, what happened? That was all it took. The tears I had been holding back finally began to fall. I looked at both of them and quietly said, Dad. Mom. I don't think I belong at St. Michael's anymore. I've tried, and I've tried, but nothing seems to change. Please, can I transfer to another school? My parents looked at each other. Not with disappointment, but with love. My father moved closer and gently said, Maya, changing schools may change the classroom, but it won't change how you feel about yourself. My mother smiled and softly added, We believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. Their words stayed with me. And for the first time that day, I began to wonder. Maybe giving up wasn't the answer after all. The following week, my parents received a message from school. Mr. Samuel Wanjiru wanted to meet them. I knew exactly why. As we walked into the school compound, my heart felt heavier with every step. Inside the staff room, Mr. Wanjiru welcomed my parents. He spoke calmly, but every word felt like a stone on my heart. Mr. and Mrs. Njeri. Maya is a disciplined girl. She works hard, and her character is excellent. But mathematics remains a serious concern. He paused before continuing. If this continues, she will find many doors closed in the future. Many careers require strong mathematics skills, and I'm worried she may struggle later in life. I lowered my head, unable to look at my parents. I felt as though my future had already been decided. When the meeting ended, we walked home quietly. No one spoke for several minutes. Finally, my father broke the silence. He smiled gently and said, "Maya, your future is not decided by one teacher or by one examination." My mother nodded. "Your grades matter, but they do not define who you are." Those words gave me a little hope. That evening, I opened my mathematics book once again. Not because I wasn't afraid, but because I had decided I would keep trying, no matter how difficult. From that day on, something inside me began to change. Not overnight. Not because mathematics suddenly became easy, but because I had stopped fighting to impress other people. I was now fighting for myself. Every morning, I arrived at school a little earlier than before. Every afternoon, I stayed behind, practicing one question after another. Sometimes I got the answer right. Sometimes I didn't. But unlike before, I refused to give up. Brenda never left my side. Whenever I became frustrated, she would smile, sit beside me, and patiently explain the questions again. She never laughed at my mistakes. She celebrated every small improvement. For the first time, I started believing that maybe, just maybe, I could improve. Mr. Wanjiru continued pushing me. Every lesson, he expected more from me. Sometimes his words still hurt. Sometimes I went home wondering if he would ever believe in me. But I remembered something my father had told me. The opinions of others should never become the limits of your future. Those words stayed in my heart. And every time I opened my mathematics book, I reminded myself, this journey wasn't about proving Mr. Wanjiru wrong. It was about proving to myself that I could become stronger than my fears. Little did I know, the years ahead would change my life in ways I could never imagine. And one day, the same people who doubted me would be the first to witness just how far determination can take a person. That, however, is a story for another day.